Well, folks, it's me again. You just can't get rid of me. Nothing for KQ Squirrel Moggington here. We're here to continue trying to find a password in the crappiest city available. We're here to continue yelling all in and rushing down people with sharp objects. And we're here to fail in really impressive fashion. Time for more sorcery, or morcery as I like to call it. I don't like to call it that, never mind. Anyway, tonight that's pretty much what we've got in store for you. Hello, Saria. I am just, remembering that you actually have to start Steam in order to play games on Steam. That's like an important thing that you need to do. Good thing I remembered. So, absolutely prepared to, get out there and hack and slash some more and maybe actually cast something. I wonder if you can actually get through the game if you just leave your spell book behind in the start of the game or something. Because it gave me the option to do that. And so far I haven't seen any place where casting spells is absolutely required. It just feels like it would be really dumb to go through an entire, swashbuckling hack and slash video game called Sorcery and leave your spellbook in the starting camp. There's no achievements in this game, but I think that would be very funny. Hello, Celine and company. Hello, Woodlings. I'm just, pontificating on variant ways to play this thing. Because I'm sure there are some. I have absolutely no illusions that I've made any of the optimal choices. Or gotten anywhere close to optimal. I don't think my character knows how to spell optimal. All the spells in this game are 3 letters, and there's probably a reason for that. That said, we are pretty deep into book 2, I believe. Probably about halfway through, I'm not sure. We have seen absolutely none of these alleged 4 nobles that have a single password that we need to leave the city. So, it's obvious that I'm taking all the wrong decision trees. But that's fine, it's fine. We can always abuse the rewind button. As for tomorrow's game, I haven't really decided yet. So, some seat of your pants choice making here. But I am kind of looking at E's 1 and 2, and I'm kind of looking at E's Origins. I'm feeling like maybe an E's game is what's called for. I know Silver had been doing E's 1 and 2 on her stream, but I did ask permission, and totally cool. Not that I probably needed to, but I am an overly paranoid little bastard. In the affectionate sense. We have 30 seconds. 30 seconds before we begin playing Sorcery 2. So, if there's anything you want to do before the stream starts, that's too bad. You have no recourse. You are trapped here. Trapped on a satellite, where you'll be forced to watch me play games badly. No, it's just a misuse again. Okay, so let's get the scene changed. Disable the music. Get you folks down here. Hang out with my ears. Where you belong. Mwah! Yeah. And get the game up and running. When last we left our heroine, we had stopped for lunch in the middle of the street in the poor quarters. Oh no, my ears. They're being eaten. Oh well, that's fine. Let's see, let's look left. To the left, a narrow road leads deep into a slum district, but its lanes are slung with decoration and narrow bunting. Suddenly, out of an almost invisible narrow alley, a figure no higher than your knee dashes out and collides with you, sending you sprawling. They cry out an apology as they hare away down the street. Okay, I can see immediately that my gold has reduced to 3. So, wait a minute. I only had 3 gold. Let's, just chase after them. You get back to your feet. Time to move on further into the city. Oh, whoops. Okay. I guess we're just leaving. We're just walking that off. I feel pretty sure that I just lost something. God knows what. But apparently if I don't know that I've lost it, it doesn't matter. Let's head to the main road or into the, just walk out, you can leave. Let's head down the main road. We'll cut through these houses, they're not important. You make your way along the cliff-top road between grand houses that must belong to well-to-do types. You pass a tall, thin man in a long robe, some kind of monk. He bows to you as you pass. Greetings. The monk beams at you and holds out his palms. Take his hands. He wants a hug. You reach out and take hold of his hands. With burning bright eyes, he stares at you. You must find the crown, he murmurs, for the sake of all Kakabad. Then quite suddenly he releases you and straightens up, folding his hands away into his robe. You can't help noticing you feel strangely refreshed. Oh, cool. Refreshing hug. Who are you? But the monk only shakes his head, then gestures to his mouth. Now that you look closely, you see his tongue has been cut off and he cannot speak. He bows his head and walks away. Okay, supernatural occurrences are happening to us now. That's cool. That was obviously some kind of divine messenger. Possibly from the whale. Which is apparently my spirit animal now. I feel a sudden urge to... I wonder if I'm the whale because I spent all that money in that shop. You continue up the main road, which climbs gently towards the center of Kare. The road passes through the ruin of a grand building. In what must have been once a glorious morning room, an ornamental pond is all that remains. Moss grows from the cracks in its tiled sides. Let's have a look. You walk over to the pond. Despite its great age, it seems well tended, and the water is surprisingly clear. A small scarlet fish darts out from behind a stone as you watch. Bubbles rise from its mouth, and as they break, you hear the breath of words. Something else glints from the bottom of the pool. To me, a scarlet fish says that this is a red herring. But... let's lean in close and listen. Kneeling beneath the pond, you put your ear close to the water. If the little scarlet fish swims up and spits a drop of water at your cheek, if fishes could laugh, you would flare this fish with chuckling. Again it mouths bubbles with a sound like... brrrr. But what does it mean? This is so obviously a red herring that... do I have a speak with fish spell? That is a good question. Do I have any kind of spell that might let me talk to the fish? Sap and hot, soft and warm. We can be suspicious, which will telepathically indicate to us if this is a trap. But I don't know, actually. Let's try and cast a spell and see what happens. We have plenty of stamina. Can we be suspicious of this? Not really. Control non-intelligent creature. We could take command of this fish, but it's speaking to us, so I don't know if it's non-intelligent. We could... talk with animals requires a green-haired wig. Sadly, we do not have a green-haired wig. Find safe passage. I don't know if we're in danger. I think I'm going to go ahead and be a complete idiot. Let's look deep into the pond. Your eyes trace a second gleam. Not a fish this time, but a gold piece. Someone must have thrown it into the water for luck. Alright, let's pick it up. It's schmuck bait. But... you dip your hand into the pool to grab the coin. The fish leaps out of the water to come after you, but it is not fast enough. You pocket the gold. Time to go! The main road continues... oh, okay. We got away with that. That's cool. The main road continues onward along the edge of the ridge, and you hear the sound of a crowd in the distance. A narrower lane heads uphill to your left. Let's try... well, if we go down this way, we're just heading back towards the start of town. Presumably that was a skill check. I don't know if I have stats. But I genuinely have no idea if I have any statistics. You follow the narrower road, which skirts the edge of Central Kare. The homes and buildings either side are now more densely packed together. You are nearing a more busy, bustling area of Kare. We better speed. Gotta go fast. You lengthen your stride, which is probably how you fail to notice the shadow in the doorway. Suddenly a hand appears on your shoulder, and you are pulled backwards into a building. Oh, we got Scooby-Dooed. They did to us what they're always doing to Velma and Daphne. Don't be afraid, murmurs a voice. Turn to see who it is. You turn to see who it is. A dark-skinned man with a beard of short stubble. As you look at him, he releases you, holding up his hands to show he means no harm. Apologies to give you a fright, he says. I am a lonely man in this evil city. You're a human, and that's a refreshing sight. Please sit with me and talk for a while. You're to absorb my brain power. That's okay. I'll wear you like a hat. Alright, I'll sit with him. This guy went out of his way to stop us. Let's at least hear what he has to say. I'll sit with you. Thank you, it is good to talk the common tongue, he grins. You look around the building and realize you are in his home. It is well furnished, with rich woven tapestries on the walls. Let's ask him about himself. You seem a wealthy man, you remark, looking around at the room. Me? Man smiles. No, nothing like that. I used to be a hero, traveling with Glandragor the Heroic, if you've heard of him. Oh yeah, Glandragon. I've heard of Glandragon. Let's look him over. You look the man over. He is a noble-looking sword and wears fine furs as a coat. Cloak. He seems friendly enough, but there is just enough of a mischievous glint in his eyes to give you pause. The man goes to a counter and takes down 2 mugs and a tankard of ale. I'd like to ask you about your business, but before I go into all that, would you like some ale? Nah. Let's not stay and drink. I must be leaving. The man frowns heavily and begins to shake his head repeatedly. No, no, he growls, suddenly angry. Ungrateful traveler. You barge your way into my home and refuse my hospitality. Join me in my ale, or I promise you, you will not leave my house. Okay, well, that's a fucking red flag. Let's get out of here. You stand to leave, nodding your head politely to the man. Then, before you know what is happening, he has grabbed a longbow from the wall, notched arrow, and is aiming straight at your heart. No one escapes from Van Gorn the murderer, he gloats, pulling back the string. I can see why he's reluctant to give his real name. He should workshop that name? Yes, he should. Hello, Shatari. Alright, let's cast the force field spell, because I think it would probably help. Wait, no. Create glue. Shit, we can't. We have no glue. Anyone named Van Gorn the Murderer has to be trustworthy. You know, you're right. Cause clumsiness. Let's make him shoot himself. You cast a spell just as Van Gorn releases his arrow. But his aim is way off and the bolt flies up and buries itself in the ceiling. He shakes himself in rage, clearing the effects of the spell with an impressive concentration. You draw your sword, you have no choice but to fight, but before you can reach him, his fingers release the arrow. We can block an arrow with our sword? That's something people can do. You lift your sword up to the face, hoping to stop the arrow in its path. The arrow strikes the sword and bounces away. Vanguard stares at you in surprise. Shit, I'm surprised too! You take advantage of his pause to advance. Alright, we're in another sword fight. Again. And you know what that means? We're going all in. Oh, fuck. Van Gorn raises his sword and stares at you along the length of the blade. You grip your sword firmly, then bring it up fast to deliver a heavy blow. Van Gorn parries fast, stepping to one side as he swings his blade, and your own thrust is knocked aside. The impact of his blow is deep and flings you stumbling across the room. He wipes his blade against his boot. Let me make it easier for you, the murderer suggests. I'll stand still so you can hit me. Well, that means I'm gonna have to defend, because either he's gonna defend, and so everything I do is gonna get blocked, or he's gonna come charging at me, and I will lose whatever conflict, because I'm kind of weakened now. So, let's defend. Yep. He didn't stand still at all. You pace back across the cluttered room, dropping into a crouch as you try the deep slice. You jump clear before the blow lands, and Van Gorn laughs appreciatively. He shifts his sword about so the blade lies across his body. I think he's gonna block. So let's go kinda light. Oh! We won! You sense an opening, and determined to take advantage of it. You sting with your blade low and fast, saving your energy. But the blow you land is only minor, because Van Gorn has turned quickly aside. You knock the murderer staggering into a wall. He seems more surprised than hurt. He swivels his grip. The weapon flashes as it moves. That probably means he's coming in with a strong strike. I'm gonna block. Okay, that was weak. Actually. You are mostly unscathed. Well, then fuck it. All in! Time to attack. Your swing is deep, but his own move is fast and careful, and he's able to parry. Grimacing, Vanguard mutters a quick curse as he sets his stance. I'm defending again. Yeah, that was a big attack. A good fighter, but overall you waste more energy than you should, Vanguard remarks. Whoever trained you would be most displeased. You know, they probably would. I'm kind of a shitty sword fighter. But I am a victorious sword fighter. Vanguard roars with anger, sweeping clutter off a tabletop as he swings his sword. Relentlessly you cut and thrust, keeping him pinned. You swing your sword in towards his chest, aiming to knock the wind from his lungs. He is off-balanced and moving slowly, and the blade goes deep. He stumbles forward, eyes opened wide with surprise. You have finished me, he declares. After so long undefeated. 7 stamina lost, shameful. I am a terrible sword fighter, but I'm a victorious sword fighter. With Vanguard dead, you are free to leave. Well, let's search his body. You find 8 gold pieces, which you take. Look in the cupboards. You find a jar marked poison and another marked essence of bark. Let's take both. Taste the... But why would I do that? That's probably a magic thing. Let's not lick it. Look behind the wall hangings. You lift one of the hangings, uncovering a giant spider. The arachnid jumps out at you, baring its fangs and landing on your chest. I fucking spiders. Licking the magic is even more dangerous than licking the science. Yes, it is. Nah, there's no... Create a force field. No, it's underneath the force field. That won't help. Talk with animals requires a green-haired wig. What about, summon a we're not gonna summon a giant. Cause lively dancing. That is even more stupid than... I don't think we have anything that we can do about this spider. Let's just try and knock it away. You swipe at the spider with one hand, but it catches your arm with its teeth and digs in. You feel poison spreading into your veins. I'm gonna pray. Quickly, you raise a prayer to the dolphin, your spirit. You feel a dull warmth enter your veins, and after a moment, the itching of the spider venom lessens and fades. You are saved. Well, we're not gonna be able to use that for a while. Let's just get out of here. Echo saved us. You continue along the street, which grows narrower and more winding. On either side, slum dwellings rise high. Faces appear and disappear behind drapes. Someone throws out a bucket of slop, narrowly missing you. Furry, chained-up animals screech from balconies. The sun disappears from view. Just keep going. You push forward, climbing a gentle slope. No kink shaming for what? The animals in cages? The slop? The spider? A lane gets narrower, muck and foul water runs downhill, forming a sheen over the flagstones. The walls either side are now so close together that someone on the top floor has laid planks across the alley to steal from the house opposite, or perhaps to steal their own things back. It is hard to be sure. Well, let's just keep going, because there's nothing we can do. The road narrows further until your elbows are brushing the door frames on either side. Then suddenly you reach a small plaza. Suddenly, time passes. This is a small open square with a dried-up well in the center. The crossroads and small roads lead off to the left and right. Look at the alleys. You pause to look around the edge of the square. There is nothing to distinguish one alleyway from the other, although you see a line of what look like blood drops headed right. Well, blood, you say. I hope this is not Chris's blood. Stop and eat. We gained a health point. That's cool. Look at the well. The only thing the alleys have in common is that they converge here. Once, presumably, this well served all the people in the district. But perhaps there were too many people, because now the well seems dusty and dry. You are too exposed out here in the open. You must keep moving, lest you forget this city has its teeth. Let's see. We could take the right road and head all the way back downhill. That seems dumb. We could go straight on and head towards this little pagoda. Or we could take the left road and head up towards, Palatine Hill, or possibly Palpatine Hill. I say we head left, because, I'm still trying to get to the noble quarters so I can rob them and bully them for their passwords. So, I say we go up this way. You follow the east. You follow the street past low slum buildings. On the step of one, a rough-looking girl sits, her knees drawn up to her chin. "Spare coin!" she shouts. Yeah, alright. You stop and give her a gold piece. "Baefe!" she cries. "A whole gold piece! I was expecting a quarter of one from the look of you. Thanking you." Ask her about the city. Tell me, you begin, but she interrupts you. You want to talk? Sit down, let's play dice. She pulls out a familiar-looking set of knuckle bones. Oh, Christ, do I want to play dice with this lady? I'm gonna lose, because I am terrible at liar's dice. Or whatever we're playing. Swindle bones. But maybe I'll get some information out of her. You take a seat on the step beside the girl. What's the stake? 2 gold pieces. The girl hands you your dice and waves at you to bid. Alright. Let me see. I'm gonna bet 2 fours. You're a citizen of Kare, are you? Well. Of course I am. People don't come and go around here. I intend to. Let's call. I don't think there are three threes anywhere on this table. The round is mine. You know who taught me Swindlestones? No? Lorag the Scholar. Noble. Wizard. Genius. He's a noble. I'm gonna bet 3 threes, because this time I think there might be. One of the few that's actually noble. She called... Nope. She won. I need to find the nobles of the city court. And you're asking me? There might be 2 fours, we never know. You know where in the city they might be? There was one with a house near the fields. He did tax collection, so he liked to live in the middle of everything. But he's gone and gone blind now with it. Well, I think you're wrong. I won. Two twos, okay. Let me see. I'm gonna bid 2 threes. Not bad. Alright. I'm gonna bid 3 twos. She calls. That means she probably has no 2s in her. Yep. I should really just call things. You're good at this game, then. I'm one of the best players in the city. Just saving up enough money to cross a bridge and go to Vlada to make my fortune. 2 fours? I don't believe you. It'll be that simple. Oh, shit. She won. Well, I'm gonna lose, no matter what. Saw something really disgusting today. And now you'd like to share? Alright, you don't want to hear it? I won't tell you. And no, I won. Hard to believe. Looking for the North Gate. It's on the other side of the river, through the necropolis. I've been there once, won't go back. If she's being honest about having a 4, then I lose. If she's being honest, if I'm being honest. But, I think the only thing I can do is call. And hope. Nope, she wins. The girl snatches up the money as if expecting you to take yours back. How much this time? I've played enough. The girl shrugs. Suits me fine, have a great day. You too. Sure, she replies darkly, because that's what life on the streets is like. She jerks her head. Get moving, you're cluttering my view. Found 2 new clues and other clues have been updated. Okay. What did I actually learn from that? Lord Lorik is a scholar. One of the nobles is now blind and begging. I wonder if that's the dude out front of the city. I don't think I can get back there, though. You follow a busy, winding street between tall buildings, heading in this direction. You spy some graffiti painted on the sidewall of one of the houses. You stop to read the sprayed message. It appears to have been painted very quickly, making it hard to read the writing. The cousin is gone. The gourd have no paws. Time to rice. I don't know what that means. The cousin is gone. The gourd have no paw. The guard have no laws? Who is the cousin? Time to rise. Well, that's a... Time to rise? Could be. Or they could be writing down a delicious recipe. Look more closely at the writing. You come closer to see if you can make sense of it. Perhaps it says, the council is grin. The guard have no pour. Time to rise. Okay. The council is... fucked. The guards suck. It's time to rise up. Alright, leave it. You ignore it. Local color, nothing more. You pass a narrow, unpleasant-looking archway on your left as the road turns the corner in view of the wall. Can I go to the archway? No, I cannot. Alright, looks like we're headed for the docks. The road climbs further, looping back on itself as it climbs. Several little alleys disappear off between homes and buildings on either side. This area of town is a spider's web that would be easy to lose oneself in. You pass a shop with a brass sign above the door. Metalworkers Guild. Really? Metalworkers. Maybe they can do something about my sword. You open the door and enter the small building to find a messy workshop littered with pipes, tubes, and barrels that leak hot gases into the air. A gnome and a troll are leaning over the innards of some kind of machine, tinkering and turning spanners. They don't notice you come in. Greet them or look for something to steal. I don't need anything to steal. I've made it this far on my wits alone. And look how well that's going for me. You call to the pair and wave, but they are so engrossed in their work they do not notice you. But something does. From a corner of the room you hear a squeal and see a movement. You look around and your attention is caught by a brass statue of a pig standing on its hind legs. It seems quite ordinary, except that as you watch, it hiccups. That seems like what they must do to people who steal from them around here. You approach the 2 metalworkers, and this time, you tap them on the shoulder. The troll turns, staring at you blankly, chomping his upper lip with oversized teeth. The gnome is more friendly, lifting up his eye shield and smiling. Ignore my dumb friend. Welcome to our little shop. I know I introduce everyone that way. Ignore my dumb friends. How y'all doing tonight, by the way? I hope you're all good. How did that statue work? What, our little piggy? The gnome smiles. That's one of Raglash's creations. And unbelievably, he pats the dumb-looking troll on the shoulder, and the troll coughs twice. It's an articulated automation. Seeing your confusion, he clarifies, it runs on magic gas. Well, what's it for? The gnome shrugs. Nothing really, it just hiccups. We're working on the next model, which, if we get it right, and he glowers briefly at Raglish as he speaks, then we'll be able to pickpocket people. We were planning to unveil it at the festival, but we're behind. Maybe next year. The troll burps. Do you know any spells for the North Gate? The gnome barks a surprised laugh, almost knocking himself over. No, he explains, that's Witherling, which is about as far from what we do as eggs are from cooked eggs. The troll shakes his head sadly. I know, the gnome remarks to his friends. No one understands what we do. It's most frustrating. The gnome chirps to himself. Alright, well tell me about your place. This is the Metalworkers Guild, the gnome replies proudly. That's metalwork, not blacksmithery. No one seems to have much interest in metalwork. It's the future, of course. The troll picks up a spanner and drops it again. I need to be going. Raglish growls at you quite suddenly. The gnome nods. My friend is right. We should be getting back to work. You nod and leave the shop. That was a interesting sidetrack. I genuinely have the feeling that if I had tried to steal something, I would have gotten screwed over in there. You emerge from a narrow, winding alley into an open space. On the far side, the Jabaji River slides past, its surface strewn with flotsam and jetsam dredged up from fallen parts of the city. I know that there is a distinction between flotsam and jetsam. And now I'm kind of curious. So, if you'll indulge me for a moment. What is the difference between... Flotsam is defined as debris in the water that was not deliberately thrown overboard, often as a result from a shipwreck or accident. Jetsam is debris that was deliberately thrown overboard by a crew of a ship in distress, often to lighten the ship's load. So, I've always, there's a classification for stuff you threw overboard on purpose and stuff that got dropped overboard accidentally. That's cool to me. The sails of the boats at anchor billow and snap in the breeze. You have reached the docks, the beating heart of Kare. Waste no time. Night has fallen, and the streets will become dangerous after dark. You should find somewhere to stay. You can continue your search for the nobles tomorrow. There are 2 inns visible from here, the Wayfarer's Rest and the Meat and Cleaver. There is nothing obviously different about either of them. Ah, yes, Flotsam is the eel on the right, Jetsam is the eel on the left. Probably. Let's see. Do we... Oh, wow, we have a lot of choice. Sleep in an alley. Sleep at the Wayfarer's Rest. Sit by the river. Sleep in the market. Or sleep at the Meat and Cleaver. Okay, the Meat and Cleaver is either like Cannibal Country or a steakhouse. There's no in between. I think I'm gonna risk it being a steakhouse. I mean, risk the cannibal thing. Submap. The Meat and Cleaver is a small, grimy place that looks like it's been converted from a wood store. Rats run across the floor, and the customers at the table look haggard and tired, as if just smelling the air is draining them. By the bar, a stooped, hunched innkeeper wipes his beer mugs with a filthy handkerchief. Okay. This place looks disgusting. You turn and head back out on the street. You walk back to the docks. Let's try the Wayfarer's Rest. You make your way inside the Wayfarer's Rest. It is a lively and bustling place. The innkeeper behind the bar is trying to serve numerous creatures, all demanding ale at the same time, while around the table, salty types and buxom wenches are laughing together and singing shanties. You know, if anything, I trust this place less than I trusted the other place. Let's just park at a table. You take a seat between a swarthy sailor with an eye patch and a swarthy woman who also wears an eye patch. Eye patches for everybody. Greet the company. You greet the sailor and the woman. "You're a nice salty dog," the man remarks. "What you say, Eka?" The woman, Eka, barks a deep throaty laugh. "Not salty, but stray," she braves. Let's talk to the pirates. I'm from Anal Land, you tell them. You're gonna sign on, is that it? The sailor asks. Maybe. I'm not sure. Well, make sure you pick your crew. A bad crew is like a bad crab. And he minds throwing up, accidentally spitting beer at another sailor across the table, who is thankfully asleep. Listen, the sailor murmurs. Do you play swindle swines? Jesus Christ, man. How many vowels do you need in that word? I do, but no. I feel like I'm gonna get stabbed if I say no. But let's say no anyway. Not tonight. I need to rest. The sailor shrugs. Oh well, as you like. Get to your feet. Don't go far, murmurs the woman with the eye patch, smiling. Your eyes roam around the busy room and light on a shadowy figure in one corner. It is Flanker, the assassin whose life you spared outside Buratani. Oh hey, we found Strider, Flanker. Let's go chill. You go over and sit by the assassin. Greetings, you declare enthusiastically. Flanker nods. He does not smile, but he seems pleased to see you. Aha, my friend and enemy. I am well recovered, as you see. He raises his flagon. And you look as hale as the moment you left me. Your journey has been uneventful so far, I trust, and how have you fared in Kare? The city is full of devils. Flanker laughs and nods. It is indeed. But at least you have not had to face the portal traps. They will take your smile and move it to your throat, as we assassins say. Portal traps? Flanker laughs. Do not fear, you have not missed out. You have only survived this far because all the traps are on the other side of the river. He drinks from his mug, then nods to you. Can I buy you an ale? No, he owes us a big debt. We spared his life, and he, claims that he owes us a debt. And I feel like if we let him buy us beer, he will declare our debt repaid and take off. You shake your head, Flanker laughs. Very wise, friend, he declares, draining his own mug and waiting for a second. He pauses to glance around himself as if he was waiting for something, but if so, he does not see it. I have a few minutes. Tell me of your quest. How goes it? The journey is long, but I'm unbowed. There are horrors, but we stay silly. Good, he nods. I am glad you are still no coward. To be defeated is a shame, but to be defeated by a creature without a spine is torture. I need to find a beggar who was a noble. Ah, blind Theta. I've heard he wanders the wastelands in Upper Kare, north of the river. There is an area where the city is collapsed, where beggars and ne'er-do-wells gather. You could try there. I also need to find a man named Lorag. Flanker thinks for a moment. I know him. He lives on the other side of the river in the ghetto of the Red Eyes. He is the kind of fool who would live among such demons. But exactly where, I do not know. Alright, so we got one in the red quarter and one in the fallen quarter, which is way the fuck down here. Oh, that feels mutually exclusive. Alright, I think we're heading south when we cross the river. I want to find this beggar. He sounds like he'll be the smartest one. I do need to find the other nobles. I was told by an old man in jail they're the only ones who know the spell for the North Gate. Flanker nods. Indeed, this is true. But I do not know this city well enough to know where you might find them. Perhaps you might appear with one of the Kare's gods. Bah, the gods are worthless. Flanker laughs. Mostly they are, but some know a little. Gorga, for instance, his temple is in the north, but he is quite happy to kill false worshippers. He stands, he smiles a thin smile. But tell me, friend, do you play dice? I don't have time for games. A pity, Flanker replies. I was relishing the chance to best you at this one. But that would not happen. Let us put that to the test, then, he answers. From a hidden pouch in his tunic, he pulls a slip of dice and pushes half of them across the table to you. No, I'm not going to gamble with him. He's going to take it as a sign that our debt is repaid. I won't play. I have no time. The assassin seems disappointed, but he puts the dice away with complaint. You bid farewell to Flanker as he sweeps out of the inn. Alright. You fight your way through the creatures to the bar. With a thump on the bar top, you catch the barkeeper's attention. Greetings. Nice place you have here. The innkeeper nods at you. He's clearly impressed by your dress and fearsome aspect. Well, that's a fucking first. What be your purpose in these air parts, he asks. We're gonna have to buy some food? Aye, can you feed me in this hellhole? Aye, to the gills for 6 gold pieces, hardy as you like. What's the price of a room? The innkeeper holds up 4 fingers. Ah, we can't afford both. Let's get the room. We need a place to sleep more than we need a place to eat. You hand over 4 gold pieces. For a moment, the attention of every other creature at the bar is distracted by the shine. Then the innkeeper slips a coin into his belt and conversation resumes. He jerks his thumb to the staircase in one corner. Go up whenever you like. A ruffian knocks over a dwarf's mug of ale. The fight that breaks out is short, sharp, and ends with the heel of an axe breaking the ruffian's nose. It's just not a good night unless you catch a bar fight. A great cheer goes up and the innkeeper replaces the ale free of charge. Alright, let's get out of here. Upstairs. You head up the stairs. There's a room above the inn. The room is small but clean. You lie down on the bed, tired from your day of walking through the busy city. I think we've already eaten today, so we're probably good. Then it is time to sleep. You close your eyes and the noise from downstairs does not trouble you for long. Your dreams are cluttered and crazy. Red-eyed beings loom at you. You seem to be walking forward, traps springing at your feet. Face after face laughs as you ask about the spells. 4, says one. There are 11 spells. 13, 49. Vanguard strolls over and shakes you by the hand. Thank you for helping me realize the error of my ways, he says. A moment later, he sticks a dagger in your lung. And somewhere beneath your feet, you hear a man cackling with laughter, and the crown is on his head beyond your reach. Well, we got a good night's sleep. Dreams aside. Dawn breaks and you head downstairs. The inn looks like a whirlwind has passed through it. That is a lot of spells, yeah. Chairs are turned over on top of tables, plates and flagons have been scattered around, and several patrons are passed out asleep on the floor. Let's make sure they're alive. You stop by the first of the fallen drinkers and check they're still breathing, which they are, but their breath is so thick and alcoholic it makes you swoon to smell it. You pick your way across the bodies to the door and go out in the street. Well, one guy's alive, that's enough for me. As the sun breaks over the rooftops of Lower Carre, the city looks clean and bright, like a stone polished to a shine by a fast-moving river. The effect lasts for a beautiful moment. And then the people of Carre begin to stir, opening their windows to throw out their slop, shouting and cursing at each other as they do so. Cities are beautiful except for the people. And sometimes the people are beautiful except for the city. Looks like we gotta go all the way down there. The market traders begin to set up their stalls, fighting and threatening each other to get the spots closest to the chips. A few sly types, probably pickpockets, begin to prowl the shadows between the stands. There are still areas of Lower Carre you have not explored, but you cannot afford to waste more time in these slums. If the nobles are to be found, they will be found on the other side of the river. And if they are not to be found, you must reach the gate and try to find another way through. Let's buy breakfast. You wander the stalls looking for something to eat and find a stand selling bamba bread for 2 gold pieces. The smell is quite nourishing. Oh. You buy a slice of the bread. It is pleasantly filling, with a sweet, meaty texture. I don't know if I want my bread to have a meaty texture. You thank the woman at the stall, then head over to the river to wait for the bridge to be lowered. After a while, a grizzled old man arrives and unlocks a small booth by the harbor bridge. He goes inside and closes the door behind him. Let's wait. Let's not be a dick. You sit down outside the booth to wait for the man to lower the harbor bridge. Half an hour goes by and nothing happens. Keep waiting. You wait another half an hour, enjoying the morning sunlight playing on the river. It feels like the first rest you've had since you left the outpost settlement. It's hard to imagine that had it not been for the Archmage and the Birdmen, you would never have made this journey, never explored the world outside the Shamutani Wall. Look around the dock. You look around the dock. By the base of the bridge, you notice a winch-like contraption. Perhaps it lowers the bridge. Oh boy, do we try to lower this thing ourselves? Yeah, what's the worst that could happen? We fall in the water and our leg gets hooked to a rope and we end up hung upside down in the water and then the rope retracts with a comical boing and we get flung off over the horizon. Yeah, it's probably the worst thing that could happen. Let's go ahead and try it. You go over to try the winch. It's extremely heavy, but with a little effort you manage to get it to turn, and sure enough, the bridge begins to move slowly down. The old man more or less explodes from his booth and charges over to you. Do you know what you're doing? He demands, apocalyptic with rage. You're crazy! What's the problem? The tide! The tide is on the chart! Gotta follow the chart! He waves a document at you. Vic'll have my skin! Who's Vic? You don't know, the man replies with clear surprise. Vic's gonna be the ruler of this city soon enough, mark my words. Vic's the first noble, so they say. And he taps the side of his long nose meaningfully. Then he sighs. Aye, but I guess it's not far off time, though I don't like doing things early even by a whisker. The old man leaves his booth and goes over to a contraption on the waterfront. He begins to heave and wind an ancient winch. It seems to be quite hard work. He's trying to move the whole weight of the bridge single-handedly. Well, he seems like a nice guy. Let's help him. You get to your feet and go over to help the man out. Get off, you break it. Alright, don't help him. You let the man struggle, happy to let him be stubborn. Sweat beads on his forehead and he heaves and puffs as he works, but eventually, the bridge clunks down into place. You salute the man cheerfully and get to your feet. You notice that his accent evaporated, like, as soon as he had to give us important exposition? Let's cross the bridge. We haven't updated the art. You cross the bridge over the River Jidabi, which runs like a slime trail through the center of the city. You have reached the banks of Upper Kare. Nice work, us. It only took us, what, like 3 hours to get out of there. The buildings here are not as grand as on the south side of the river, but they are in much better condition. Fewer people live on this side, away from the fields and the hills, but those that do are richer. They are also likely more dangerous. But of course, it is on this side of the city that the North Gate stands. You follow the road away from the river towards a fork in the road. If there are any nobles still in the city port, their houses are most likely to be on this side of the river. But which way? Alright, I did say I was heading down to the Fallen Quarter first. Let me just double check to make sure these clues are accurate. Lord Theta is in the Fallen Quarters. Lord Alarg is a scholar, and the scholar's house is in the Red Quarter. A large house close to Fireview Square. Fireview Square is down here. So both of our potential leads are down this way. That's good to know. The god Kurga may be able to help with your quest for the spell lines to the North Gate. A man named Vic runs several businesses in the city port. Area is protected by a series of portal traps. We don't know what those are. And the inhabitants of Kari are greeting each other with the slogan, Vic for First Noble. Alright. Armed with this knowledge, we sally forth. The early morning sun is beginning to wake the streets of Kare. A few creatures roam this way and that. In one corner, a spring bubbles with fresh water. Let's just keep moving. We know where we're going. You ignore them. There's no use wasting any time. You turn right, away from the city square. A sign points toward Fireview Square, away from the city wall. You pass large houses that have the aspect of official places of business. One is marked with the clawed fist of a moneylender. An elven woman is just leaving. She looks quite worn out already this early in the morning. We don't need to talk to her. We're good. You pass by her as you continue down the street. She murmurs a hurried apology and races away without a second look. The alley gets wider and passing a long building on the left which seems to be full of children. On the step, a lanky man sits with his eyes firmly closed. Ignore him. Like, don't get involved with the people right now. You follow the road between large houses until it enters a wide square. Odd-looking creatures mill about, going about their business. Several are clustered in a crowd or on a monument of some kind. On the other side of the square, the main road continues on through a low arc. 1,000 other alleyways lead off in all directions into Upper Kare. Look at the creatures? Creatures push and knock into you as they make their way across the plaza, despite there being plenty of space. None of them seem to be looking where they're going. There's something strange about them in general. Their bodies are spindly, their faces long with downturned mouths. In fact, their eyes all seem to be closed. Oh god, we found a society of Brocks from Pokemon. Maybe we ought to close our eyes, too. Look through the arch. The arch at the far end of the square is thronged with more creatures, not all the same as those in the square. There seems to be a bustling hub beyond, a market district, perhaps. A peddler with a tray around his neck walks past you in the square. Anklewort, blimberry, poultice of milkweed. I don't think we need any of that. Look at the alleyways. You walk to the center of the square and turn about, peering into all the narrow alleyways that lead off in every direction. To the northwest, they wind between residential buildings, stacked precariously on top of each other. To the south, the alleys seem darker and rubble-strewn, and there are fewer rooftops in that direction. The herb seller walks away. Meanwhile, a man pushes a wheeled cart of fruit and sets up a stall. Ooh, fruit. The fruit seller seems the sort to know his way around the city. You walk over to the fruit seller. Morning, he declares morosely. His eyes, like everyone else's, are closed. I'd say it was a beautiful day, but it isn't. Would you like to buy something? He waves a hand across an eclectic array of fruit. All of it rotten except for one glistening bomba fruit. Look at the bomba. How much for the bomba? 4 gold pieces. They're good for you, you know. You check your purse, but you don't have enough. Damn, we're 1 short. Oh well. So, can you tell me a little about this part of Kare? The fruit vendor shrugs. Of course I can. This is where no one buys any fruit. That's why it all goes rotten. Then he goes quiet, not wanting to talk anymore. You know what? That's fair. I'm not gonna poke at the rotten fruit. We'll only break it and have to pay or unleash a spider or some goddamn thing. You turn and head away from the stall, back into the center of the square. What is this monument, then? Is it blinding people? You approach the crowd around the monument, which is so thick it is hard to see inside. Here, says one of the creatures, whom you elbow aside. Be careful! Apologize. I do not have a speak with rotten fruit spell. I can tell you that right now. You apologize, and the creature huffs and moves away through the crowd. Clambering up the steps of the monument, you finally get to see inside. But the monument seems to be empty. There's just a circular rug that fills the floor space. The crowd murmur and whisper. I don't know what's going on here, but I don't feel like I should fuck with it. Let's just leave. You step away, shaking your head. You can make no sense of it. From around the monument, you hear a sudden gasp. Something has happened? You cast another look at the monument and the crowd around it, but nothing seems to have changed. The creatures are still waiting for something. You look around the various exits from the square. Okay, I have no idea where that guy's house is. An alley, through the arch, and an alley. Well, this way takes us closer to the Fallen Quarter. So I guess we take an alley. You choose a random alleyway on the right-hand side of the square and slip into the shadow between the tall buildings. The houses either side are well-built and well-defended. There are iron railings on the windows, and some even have arrow slits and portcullises. One householder has dug a moat across his front door. Wow, that is a lot. Outside one building, a tall man stands on a grappling hook. Watch him. You hang back and watch as he swings his grappling hook twice, aiming for one of the windows on the floor above. The hook misses and clatters to the street below, and the man curses for gathering up the rope for another try. Hey man, what you doing? You stride over to the man as he swings his hook once more. Are you a thief? I kind of think I have to. We've been bumbling into shit all the way through this. Let's bumble into... You have to tell me if you're a thief. The man all but jumps out of his skin as he whips around to see you. Are you from the guard? He demands. No. Then you should mind your own business, the man replies. He is clearly quite cross about something. The man gathers the rope for another swing. He's clearly tiring. Let's help him out. Let me try that, you declare. Thank you, stranger. Much appreciated, I'm sure. He hands the grapple over to you and indicates the window he's after. You toss the hook up to the window and it catches. Excellent, the man exclaims. Thank you. He takes the rope, tugs twice, and begins to climb. At the window ledge, he pauses and calls for someone inside. Esme! Esme! Put the knife down, Esme! With that, he clambers over the windowsill and into the house. Okay. Let's wait and watch. This sounds like a soap opera. Ooh, wait. Tug loose the grappling hook. Hey, maybe we can take this with us. You grab a hold of the rope and whip it, trying to free the hook from the sill. In doing so, you place yourself directly under the window, so that when a moment later the man comes tumbling out of it, he lands directly on top of you. He picks himself up and shakes himself down. I should never have married an elven. Nice eyes, very unforgiving. He hobbles away as whoever lives in the house pulls up the grapple and line and slams the shutters. Yeah, you know, that kind of cartoon shit always happens to me. Last time it was that painting, this time I get landed on. The street is falling into disrepair around you. Something has blighted this region of the city. Even the trees in the gardens behind the mansions have turned black where they stand. The only greenery is the moss on the stone wall. There are no rats scurrying underfoot, and only spiders roost on the rooftops. You pass a particularly grand house. Its door is locked with a heavy iron chain. Hey, an abandoned house! The last one we explored went so well. There is a metal S bolted beneath one gable. Superman! Perhaps it is an owner's mark. Perhaps it is there to stop a wall falling out onto the street. There is a ringing noise from down the alley. A hooded creature with a bell around his neck is approaching in shuffling steps. Look at the creature. A long black robe conceals what manner of creature it is, but it walks slowly as if in great pain. Around its neck is a bell ringing with every heavy step. Let's just leave. Well, now let's open the door to the house. The door to the house is locked with a heavy padlock chain. You try to pry it open with the tip of your sword, but achieve nothing. Now the creature is close. You can hear it sighing painful breath. Okay, is this... We are looking for a guy. Blind and begging in the ruins of the fallen quarter. We are looking for a guide. Greetings, stranger! You yell. The creature with the bell does not look up, but continues its shuffling approach. As the hooded creature passes, you can smell its terrible disease. You step back, not wanting to brush the cloth as the creature passes. I don't suppose I can cast some kind of healing spell. Like, what spell would I be able to pass? Or cast? Heal disease requires a medicinal potion. We just don't have a potion. Otherwise, I would totally be casting that. You ignore the shuffling creature and leave the empty house behind. A narrow alley opens up to your left. We don't need to go that way. We need to go this way. The buildings are fitting out. Through a gap between roofs, you can make out a tall, crooked steeple, like a finger pointing up towards the heavens. A dark shape sits at its very tip. As you watch, the shape seems to grow wide, then flatten once more, as though it had opened and closed. A bird, perhaps? Or a flag draping downward in the still air? Or a harpy? Or a vampire? You emerge from the alley into a wide area of wasteland. Once, this was a busy city district, but now it looks as though a hurricane has leveled it. Nothing stands higher than head height. A few staircases lead to nowhere. In some places, a door still stands. A hat or a boat? Or a newspaper? Plants grow from every crevice and crack, as though someone had poured green paint over the whole scene. Things are constantly moving and shuffling between the leaves. Perhaps somewhere here you will find Theta, the beggar who used to be a noble. The road, such as it is quickly smothered by piles of wreckage. There are lots of other ways to pick your way through. One possible route leads up and over the side of a broken-down house. Another passes by what might once have been a mill. You would have to climb over the mill wheel to continue this way. Let's look at the mill. Who would build a mill out here, so far from the river? Still, there is a gigantic mill wheel lying on its side in the path. Despite the state the building next to it is in, the wheel itself seems perfectly intact, and has not even lost its perfect circular shape. That sets off red flags to me. Let's follow the red flags. Red flags are a good way to know which way you're supposed to go. They're signals. You clamber up the side of the mill wheel, swing your leg across the side, then suddenly, you are falling. You are floating slowly down through the air, turning over and over. You're in pitch blackness. You cannot see a thing. Then a spot of light appears. It grows wider and wider until you emerge. To a fate that is nearly worse than death. Standing in a sewer. It's a sewer level. You have landed in a disgusting pile of unbelievable filth. Slime, excrement, sludge, dung, and dregs, all the way up to your neck. You are evidently in the sewers of Kare. It's the sewer level. It is a fate worse than death. Get up. You start to struggle to your feet when a splashing sound to your left draws your attention to a small opening in the wall, right next to your ear. Something is coming. Duck! You take a deep breath, swallow your pride, and duck down into the foul sludge. When you come up for air, the deluge is gone. You clean yourself off as best you can. Great. Where am I? You stand in a cavernous sewer tunnel, filled knee-deep with slow-flowing, stench-filled water. It is pitch black. You could be standing on a mountaintop or inside a coffin. Well, I'm gonna guess neither of those, thank you. Except that is for a single speck of light somewhere in the far distance. Make a move. Apparently we're not allowed to use... Apparently we either can't see or are not allowed to use this ladder. So let's head for this bucket. I'm going this way. You make your way up the tunnel towards the distant light. It is slow progress as you creep through the dark, keen not to trip over into the muck. The distant light grows closer, whatever it is moving quicker than you. Ice-cold water drips from the ceiling and runs down your neck. Let's wait and see what it... Let's let it happen to us, whatever this is. You wait, and within a few moments the tunnel is filled with goblins. There are not one or two, but a whole army, led by a tall, stocky elder goblin chanting a weird guttural song. They pause a short distance away from you and the leader steps forward. You should not be here, the goblin declares. This is the domain of the Mad King, and of us. Sorry. I apologize, I lost my way. That much is certainly true. He draws a curved blade and sharpens it against one claw. Take me to the king. Certainly, we will drag your corpse to its feet. He gestures behind him and one of his warriors steps up, grinning and drawing a long hooked blade. Okay. Is there a spell we can cast? We could cast the mud spell. Create quicksand. That seems like a good way to take care of an army. Quicksand in a sewer? Let's give it a shot. You toss the sand on the floor and cast a spell, but you cannot act quickly enough. The water washes the sand away. Lovely! Great try! Beautiful! We did our best. Okay. Let's go all in. Did that play both of them at once? That was interesting. The creature charges forward through the muck. You try to gauge his side and slice him neatly in two. The goblin gibbers and goes for your neck with its little blade. You score a deep blow. The goblin is weakening. It growls and spits. Go all in again. No, hit one. Then the goblin is on you like a storm, swinging a strong blow for your neck. You swing to shatter its skull, but fumble. You're driven backwards against the wall. The creature waves its sword. Block! On instinct, you drop back into a defensive posture. The goblin jumps out with a weak lunge to its weapon, but you knock it away. The creature tracks your movements. You leap forward and push your sword into its leg. The goblin's sword takes most of the blow. How does that work? Side swipe. You're chasing the creature, keeping your weight steady. You cut to one side. You have defeated the goblin. 3 stamina lost. Rough going. The goblin leader laughs. He gestures another of his minions to face you. Do I have anything I can do about this? Requires a black face mask. Requires a jewel of gold. There's no way I've got that. This requires sand, and I just used up all my sand. Let's just hit him with a fireball. You cast a smell, creating a fireball that you fling at the nearest goblin. It evaporates in a puff of smoke. Cloud of smoke. The goblin leader frowns. He's starting to get angry. He motions one more of the goblins into battle. This is still cheaper than actually fighting. What is... we don't have any pebbles. No explosions for us. Hot it is. You weave the spell, creating another ball of flame you hurl at the approaching creature. It explodes in a blast of acrid flame. The first signs of genuine fear are showing on the goblin leader's face. You're feeling breathless and weak and can barely stand. The goblins take advantage of this and rush you in a great number. You cannot escape. Something moves and everything goes black. I think this was inevitable. I think they must fight you until you're worn out. Your eyes split open, your head is pounding. You're in a wide space with your arms bound behind your back. Leaning over you is a wiry old man with a strange metal circlet on his head. Let's barbecue these shanks. Yeah, I felt bad about doing this briefly, and then I didn't anymore. Let's barbecue these goblins. I don't feel bad about this. They're goblins. In the tunnels under Kare, an army of goblins are massing for attack. Yeah. Look at the man. You blink and focus. The man's face is broken and cracked, but now that you see it clearly, you realize he's not so old, just wild and unkempt. Get up, he croaks. Get to your feet, scum. You get groggily to your feet and look around. You are on a raised dais in the center of a wide cathedral-like chamber. The floor space is filled, thick and crawling with goblins. They chatter and spit and clash their swords. Crude ladders lead up to holes in the ceiling, and the sewer tunnel itself is like an open throat. It's like some kind of nightmare. Excellent, the king smiles. Now, bow to me. King of the Goblins is still king, man. You bow deeply. The king beams a crooked smile and relaxes back upon his throne. Well then, stranger, he says, my soldiers tell me they found you wandering in my domain, a most dangerous place to be. I fell into a trap. The king laughs. And you a stranger to the city. The traps were created centuries ago, and no carrion falls into them now. Everyone knows a perfect circle for a portal trap. I was pushed. The king laughs raucously at this. Goblins at the king's feet are clearly growing restless. Why do these goblins follow you? I am their supreme ruler as I am yours. Kneel! King of the Goblins is still a king. You drop to your knees, and the king beams with pleasure, adjusting the circlet on his brow. It seems he is satisfied as he gets to his feet and staggers to the edge of his podium. My minions! I wish I had an army I could call my minions. Like, you guys are the closest thing. And you're not really minions. You're more like compatriots. Or, conspirators. Tonight we shall rise. Tonight we shall make a fire of this city. Tonight we shall crush our enemies. The roar of support that goes up is like a crashing tide. It echoes along the sewage tunnels. Keep watching. You keep watching, amazed at the sight of so many goblins following a human leader. Does the circlet on the king's head really wield power, or is there something else going on? Let us begin, continues the king, our evening celebration in the only fitting way, with an offering. Oh, let's just keep watching. Maybe he means something else. You stay still, wanting to see what happens next. Let us offer for life and victory, continues the king, the life of this ruffian. And with sudden horror, you realize he has turned and is pointing to you. Clawed hands grab your arms. There is no time for sword or spell. Let's pray. You mumble a quick but fervent prayer to the dolphin. Echo, I'm not a religious person, but if you're up there, stay up there, because all the shit you fight is creepy, and I'm in a really bad situation. But the goblins do not stop. One approaches with a cruel, curved sword. I think I used up the dolphin already. Entirely possible. Threaten the king. Alright, it's time for threats. Touch me and you will face the wrath of all Anoland, you declare fiercely. But the king only laughs. Anoland will bow before me, he replies. Soon all of Kakabad will be mine. He gestures to his goblins. A blade is raised for your neck. Scream! You scream. The goblin with the blade lowers it quickly. Then, suddenly, turns at the last minute to face the king. I'm sick of this, he growls. A moment later, his blade is against the king's throat. Tell us how to open the gate so we can be done with this. The king is staring with the wide, red-rimmed eyes of madness. Never, he hisses, never. Tell the king to tell him. Tell him! You must tell him! The king spits in your direction. Never, never, I told the others. And look what I had to do because of it. All dead now, all dead. Suddenly, in a flash, you realize who the king is. It is the first noble of Kare. What is he doing down here with these creatures? He's lost his mind. If you will not tell us, the goblin declares, suddenly standing tall, or as tall as he can, then this charade is ended. He makes a sharp gesture to the goblin horde massed behind him. The goblins begin to scream with murderous intent, surging forward to the dais. The king is paralyzed by fear, struck silent. You are released. Quite forgotten in this turn of events. Shit. Can we... We don't have the stamina to really cast a spell. We're only at 2 health. We cast a, like, hot spell or something, we die. Let's make a run for it. The goblins are running one way. You run the other. The creatures jostle and elbow you aside as they pass, but they are not interested in stopping you. From the center of the chamber comes the king's blood-curdling cry. By the power of the crown, The power cannot have been that great. The chaplains cheer and celebrate as something, ahead, is thrown into the air and then falls again. You reach the far end of the chamber, then turn and watch. The king is lost somewhere in the trampling horde. Briskly and completely overthrown, the goblin leader scrambles up onto the dais, raising his bloodied hands for silence. Brethren! Foul sisters and brothers! Shut up! The hall settles into unruly quiet. It's another speech. We have to watch so many speeches. Our leader has fallen, the goblin declares from his perch on the back of the throne. A horrid laughter ripples around the room, which means we cannot open the gate, so we must scale the walls. Tonight! The goblins nearest to you are rattling their swords together, then one turns to face you. We have an intruder, he shouts. Legate. You waste no more time and run for the sewer tunnel, leaping over goblins, knocking them aside until you can disappear into the darkness. Let him go, calls their leader. He will burn with the rest soon enough. Well, that guy is fucking dead. The Skyway and the Tubes of Medusa suck. They do. Someday I gotta play that game. The shout of the goblin army echoes for a long way over your shoulder, but it seems they're too busy celebrating their coup. I can't believe I'm not dead. I feel like I should be dead right now. Why aren't I dead right now? You make your way slowly, your head still spinning, and to stumble here and trip into the slurry water truly would be a fate worse than death. The way continues onto infinite darkness, but these goblins must have come from somewhere. There's nothing else for it. You strike off along the sewer, hoping to find a way out. It is impossible to tell how much time has passed. In the world above, perhaps the sun has gone down and the stars have come up. But long ago, somebody left with the cup, and were racing and pacing and hugging the turns. And all you know is the people of Karai are still throwing their slop into the grates. The water underfoot stinks, and the ducks above your head rain with thick filth. You reach a junction of 2 sewers, one way sealed by a grating. Let's go north. There are no ladders up from this stretch of sewer. You might have walked more than the whole width of the city by now and be out under the Badlands themselves. Or what if the sewer forms a great circle, and you're simply walking around and around, slowly carving a deeper channel for the filth? You emerge into a small chamber where a knee-deep pool of sewage is collected. The liquid is bubbling, and as you watch, a shape rises from the water. It is the smooth hide of a slime eater. It roars, gobbing slime and goo at you. Well, we're gonna die. This is where we die. Unless... Can we find a spell to cast that only uses 1 point? Talk all languages, can't do that. Sharpen blade, can't do that. Create explosions, can't do that. Can I use that big spell? I don't think so. Pause teleportation requires a green ring. Green is a very magical color. Read minds requires a skull cap. I don't think we have anything we can do. We're gonna die. You draw your sword, which seems a mere toothpick compared to the size of the creature. Then you move in. Oh, wow. That is a lot of health. Let's stab it. I'm just gonna go all in and hope. Repeatedly. Yeah, no, we're dead. The Slime Eater reaches out with long, clawed hands. You stagger, and the creature, sensing your weakness, towers over you. For a moment, you can see the true madness and hatred in its eyes. And then its paws are pushing down on your head, pressing your face under the filthy water. You are too weak to fight back. Drowned in poo! Alright, let's go back to right before we stepped into the, Yeah, let's go back to right before we stepped into the water wheel. Now we know that, circles are bad. So, do not enter any circles. We will use metagame knowledge. Climb the broken house. You clamber up the fallen rubble to the roof of the broken building. From here, you get a clear view across the rest of the wasteland. It stretches for a mile or two and will take about an hour to cross on foot, and at its far side, a tall iron fence thick with ivy slices across the land. Perhaps to keep the people of the wasteland out, or to keep whatever is beyond the fence in. In the distance, you see dark shapes moving across the sky. I think we've eaten today. We ate at the start of the day. So let's just hop down. You make your way down the far side of the building and back onto the path beyond, which soon forks. You follow the path on the right, between broken foundations and cracked streets. On one side, a roof sticks out of a sand dune. On the other, a front door lies flat on the ground, as if leading to a hidden cellar. Then the path comes to a building that, amidst all this destruction, is still standing. Its door is closed, and the stone walls seem completely intact. You try the door and find that it falls open at the slightest touch. The house consists of a single room, with a large table and a large chair, and in the far corner a sealed box. Everything seems in good repair. The wood looks waxed and polished, and the hinges on the box are free of rust. Wow! A free box! Aren't we lucky? From the doorway, you stop and look around, and that's when you notice the foot sticking out from under the table. You go over to look at the foot. It is clawed in a dull shade of deep gray-green. It is about the size of your head and sticks out from under the low table. This house feels dead. Even the air inside seems not to move. Let's leave. You take no chances and step back outside into the dying sunlight. I'm not gonna poke somebody having a nap under the table next to a suspicious box. You make your way between blasted walls and weed-encrusted rubble. There's constant movement in the corners of your eyes, rats scurrying to hide under stones in the cracks. The path turns around a large stone fountain which is toppled over on one side, revealing an empty well shaft leading down into the earth. Nope, staying away from this. You follow the path around the edge of the wasteland. After a while, another path joins this one. Looking back along it, you see a toppled steeple. A track climbs a rise at your back towards a low hovel. This is the far edge of the wasteland. Ahead, you make out a line of tall, dark trees. Let's try the hovel. We are looking for someone specific. And I don't think that, Wait a minute. Was that the blind guy? I don't think Lord Theta was the first noble. You climb the rise toward the hovel. It is merely a tent pitched in a clearing, guy ropes held down by rubble. You stand and hold your breath, but you hear nothing from inside. Perhaps it's unoccupied. Certainly it can't contain much. You step into the shade of the tiny hovel and your eyes widen. The room inside is lined floor to ceiling with trinkets, knickknacks, bric-a-brac, and other miscellaneous stuff. Some is piled up on the shelves, some hangs from the ceiling, even more leans against the walls. There are weapons, pottery, jewelry, domestic objects, magical items, and so on. Sitting cross-legged in the middle of all this mess is a small bearded gnome, who rubs his hands and greets you as you come in. How have you not been robbed? Oh, I have a little protection, the gnome replies, patting a small jar by his foot. Looking closely at it, you see it contains a small silver fish. But what protection that might offer is unclear. He pats the ground beside him. Let's see if we can do a little bartering. As you can probably tell, I've no interest in money. The gnome gestures around his little room. There is a lot to choose from. Items which stand out are a bamboo flute, a pot of beeswax, a bag of goblin's teeth, a cloth skull cap, and a compass, whose needle quivers in a direction which is close to, but not actually north. What would you like? That skull cap would allow us to read minds, I believe? Yeah, that would allow us to read minds, and I think that would be very cool. I think we could use that ability. You turn the cloth skull cap over in your hands. Anything else? Maybe the compass. You pick up the compass. It's not a normal compass. Instead, it'll point you to where you think you need to go. I'm afraid it has a mind of its own and isn't always correct, and it probably won't work in the countryside outside Kara either, so I'll understand if you don't want it. I'll take it. For a moment, you seem to see something move in the corner of your eye. I'll give it a try, you reply, not putting the compass down. That's 2 items so far. That's enough. All done? Very good. I've counted you've taken 2 things. That means I've taken the same number of things of yours. I'm very quick. You probably didn't notice me doing it. Good day. We have all that stuff. We have the skull cap and nose plugs. We have a sword. That's odd. Wait, what did you take? The gnome looks surprised. Well, really, I have no idea. I'm a kleptomaniac. It should be fairly obvious. And what's more, I couldn't see into your pack what I was taking, couldn't I? But I'm very fair, and I took exactly the right amount of things, so we're all square. Alright. I'm not gonna, welch on a deal. You head out of the hovel, you return back along the path to the junction. Whatever we lost, it's gone. I don't know what it was, but it's gone now, so best not to worry about it. I think the sand was one of it. Was part of it. The needle on the compass is quivering. You glance down at the compass. The needle is swinging between the iron fence and the path backward through the wasteland towards the steeple. So, either one of these could get us where we need to go. Do we want to go to the necropolis? Or do we want to continue hanging around in the Fallen Quarter? The Fallen Quarter is a place we actually have a lead for. And I don't really want to go to the Necro Zone. The Bone Zone, so to speak. You make your way through the wasteland toward the church. Most of the building is in ruins, but a tall steeple still reaches for the sky. Circling the steeple are 2 dark shapes that look like enormous birds. At the foot of the church, a man dressed in rags is curled up asleep. You stop and peer down at him. Could this be Theta, the blind beggar you were told to find? Its face is curiously familiar. You've definitely seen it somewhere before you arrived in Kare. Although you have not seen any other beggar as filthy and smelly as this one. You reach down and wake him gently. At first, he doesn't respond. You wonder if you're too late, but then he sits up sharply. Who's there? I'm under attack. Under attack. The Necrozone sounds like it should be part of GeoCities or Hypnospace. Or a Sonic level. He rubs his eyes and reaches out with dirty fingertips for your face. You are Theta, noble of Kare? The man looks absolutely terrified by the accusation. He begins to curl up around himself and scream. It seems quite a strong reaction. Then you see he's not looking at you, but past you. I'm not falling for that. But his fear is quite real. God-cursed harpies, he declares bitterly. They come for me every time. Every coin I get, every apple, every stinking crust of bread, they come and take it from me. What did I do to deserve such torment? Well, let's protect him. You ease the man aside and stare up into the sky. The harpies are screaming down towards him. Ugly, dark-skinned creatures with sharp talons on their arms and legs, coming to tear out what's left of his eyes. Oh, let's cast a force field spell. This ought to be funny. Walk is... Create a shield. This is not the force field spell. What is? Protection from magic, illusion of treasure. Illusion of treasure! FOF, I think it's force field, yes. But I think I want to try something. We got any D's? No. All we have is cause stupidity, and they're probably dumb enough. So, whoop. We don't have any F's either, though, so, yeah, we can't do that. Alright, let's... Go ahead and cause stupidity. It can't hurt. Yes, it can. You cast a spell over the first harpy, which begins to reel and stagger in the air as though drunk. It seems these creatures are not especially clever, as it quickly forgets how to fly properly, and begins dropping from the air, then rising up too high, and finally takes to repeatedly flying itself into the side of a nearby building. This continues until the harpy has brained itself unconscious. It crashes to the ground in a plume of dust. You gather your strength for the next battle. A branch where you can cause stupidity on yourself by accident. I think I've been playing it. Let's descend. Okay. The second harpy swoops low, screaming for blood. You drop behind a ruined pillar. The harpy drops low, then raises up once more, trying to wear you low. Don't let him get you, cries the beggar, unhelpfully. Alright, full power. You pause, watching for the harpy's wings to open. Then you launch forward. You slice with your sword, putting a hole in the creature's wing. The harpy dribbles dark blood as it flies. It wheels up and turns around, ready to strike. Look out, cries the beggar. Going for your head. Full power. Swinging up from a defensive position, you strike for the harpy's thick neck. With a final turn through the air, the harpy barrels over and then tumbles, striking the side of the church. As it hits the ground, a wall collapses, and the creature is buried beneath a slide of masonry. The beggars cheer and begin to dance. One stamina lost, skilled swordplay. The beggar creeps over from his hiding place and thanks you 2 or 3 times over. Give him back his badge. Here, I have something of yours. You dig into his pack while Theodore waits, cocking his head and listening to the sound of you rummaging through your things. Finally, you produce the badge and place it in his hand. He smiles as he accepts it. My stranger, thank you, but... He feels over the surface, trying to work out the shape, then suddenly drops it as though scouting hot. That's not mine, he says hotly. Not anymore. I wish I'd never taken it in the first place. I won't take it again. He kicks at the badge and skitters away into the debris of the fallen church. Alright, well, at least we've proven he is who he says he is. So, Lord Theda, I'd like to talk to you. That's my name, I don't deny it, he replies. I'll talk to you happily. Ever since the blindness struck me down, I've been tormented by those demons, and now they're dead. You saved me, or as much as I can be saved. Give him his walking cane. You take his outstretched hand and place his walking cane into his grip. His fingers find its familiar shape and he leans onto it with a smile. My old friend, this saw me through the worst times and my eyes were failing. I hardly need it now, of course. To demonstrate, he spins around on the spot, gets his legs into a tangle, and sits down, laughing. But thank you, stranger, you are indeed kind. The beggar shivers against a sudden breath of cold. The afternoon is waning. Evening is approaching already. Days are growing shorter, Theodore remarks. It's like that near the Badlands. Tell me your spell line for the gate. Happily, he says. I'm glad to be rid of it. It was... Oh, no. My memory's not as good as it was. Let me see. It was... Wait. Got it. It's by Korga's grace and something's pride. I can't remember what the something was. I'm starving. So hungry. We have one food left. You dig into your pack and pull out some of the bread and cheese, which you offer to him. He accepts it greedily, gobbling so fast you think he'll make himself sick. Once he's finished, he inhales deeply. I feel almost human again. Today's been a lucky day, friend. Let me reward you. Wait to see what he offers. Here is my story. I used to collect tax in this city, but I didn't account truthfully. That's why these harpies haunted me, as revenge for everything I ever took for myself. I give the most valuable piece of it now to you. With that, he holds out a ring of silver, fashioned in the shape of a serpent that coils twice around your finger. This is a talisman to protect you from serpents. Take it. It will be useful to you, I know it. Hey, okay. You take the ring, placing it on one finger, and thank him. You can't help wondering if you'll ever learn if it is a truly powerful item or just a trinket. He smiles contentedly. Perhaps, he says, I feel a little better now. Can you try to remember the rest of the line? It's gone. It's gone, like my sight. It was the name of a god, one of the old gods. The god of pride, no less. Maybe you can find out elsewhere. You could ask Korga, the god of grace, for his help. The god lives in a temple that way. He waves roughly northward. Tell me about Korga. How can he help me? Korga sees all and knows all. Suddenly the beggar grips your wrist and squeezes. But you risk your life if you talk to him. Remember, please, the left eye. That's how you start. The left eye. Alright. You thank the beggar once more for his help, incomplete as it was. Then you look to the track ahead and take your leave of him. Okay. Korga is the god of Korgets. I think of him as the god of Corgis. Alright, let's head over the fence. The path ends at a tall, ancient iron fence, overgrown with weeds. Through the dense leaves, you can make out a wide area beyond, dotted with stones and small buildings and straight, somber trees. Whatever it is, it can't be as deserted and empty as the place you're leaving. You test the ivy. It seems tightly wound around the railings, wedging 1 foot between the metal bars. You grip the cords of the plant and haul your way up. Then the second foot is up, and you are climbing, though you can feel the plant tearing under your hands. We accelerate! You keep going, hoping, if you move quickly, you will clear the fence before the ivy comes away. You don't manage it. Near the very top, you feel the sap leaping between your fingers as the cord of the plant snaps. Then you fall painfully back, onto the rubble-strewn ground. However, all is not lost. Where the plant is torn away from the fence, a foxhole has been revealed leading underneath the fence. Oh, well, hey, here's a hole. You head down and wiggle your way into the foxhole. It is so narrow you have to keep your arms out in front of you and drag your pack along behind, but thankfully it is short, coming up on the other side of the fence less than 2 strides away. You pull yourself up from a hole in the ground into a graveyard. I have a deep-set phobia that someday I'm going to enter a tight tunnel and just get crushed in there and die. Like, if I have anything, I got claustrophobia out the wazoo. So, shit like that is terrifying, but hey, we made it. You are standing in the grounds of the Acropolis, a city within the city, occupied by the headstones and mausoleums of the dead. Somewhere between the yews and cedars, you can make out the wide road that loops through the graveyard, before turning uphill that heads to the far gate. Let's use the compass. You pull out the compass and consult the needle. It spins around twice and points to the depths of the graveyard. Well, depths of the graveyard it is, then. Older tomb. You wind your way between the headstones to reach for the oldest area of the graveyard, in the corner next to the city wall. Most of the stones here are mere rubble. A few statues lie face down in the mud. A tree is split through a carved stone coffin. Find the oldest grave. You soon find what looks to be the oldest tomb. It is a small mausoleum with a low roof by ornately carved pillars. An inscription reads, "Here lies Lorag, founder of Kare." That's strange. Didn't you hear of a man named Lorag? Yeah, we did, actually. Lord Lorag is a scholar. Maybe he's studying how to be dead. The tomb is a simple stone cabinet, carved with the likeness of a man. From centuries of rain and wind, you can make out nothing of it but a long, grisly beard. Below the inscription is a longer tablet. It is half weathered and covered in moss. You clear away the dirt from the carved inscription, but you still cannot make out the words. Only trace their outlines with your fingers. The eyes of the carved statue appear to be watching you. For a rubbing of the inscription, you would need some kind of charcoal to rub with, and you have nothing that will do. Damn. You look closer at the carved man, but notice nothing more. It is just an engraving of an old man in a serene death pose. If it really is the grave of the founder of Kare, the chances are he did not die quite so peacefully. You head away from the tomb. Damn! If only we had some chalk or something, we would probably have a good rubbing. Oh no. Taking out the compass, you take a bearing. It turns wildly before pointing at the tombs from Oxel to Tamarin. Something flitters past your face. A bat? Let's keep following the plot compass. You look from one headstone to the other. A few catch your eye, though you cannot say why. You consult the compass again, but the needle spins around madly, refusing to settle. Okay, Freya, Riff, or Shinhwa. I will accept the first candidate. And before that, I will refill some water. Riff. Alright. Riff tracks. What do you got? You walk over to Riff's tomb. It seems quite ordinary. An angel with a covered face, and beneath its clawed feet, a dying serpent. Between the serpent's open jaws hangs a bone bracelet. Hey, let's test our ring of protection from serpents. You lift the bracelet carefully from the serpent's mouth, expecting a sudden attack, which thankfully never comes. Okay, now we have a bone bracelet. Does that fucking do anything? I don't know. Ah, now we can cast Kid. The caster of the spell can concentrate on an illusion, and the illusion will become real to others. Okay, that's valuable. I want to check Shinhwa, because I like that name. You approach Shinhwa's Mausoleum. Carved above its door is "Here rests Lord Shinva." Okay, Shinva. Fifth noble of Kare. A noble, but surely it's too late for them to help you. The door to Shinva's mausoleum seems to be unlocked, and is a crack ajar as though someone regularly came and went. Just in front of it is a little ring of little mushrooms growing up against the front step of the mausoleum. Oh, that's a portal trap, isn't it? You crouch down to look at the mushrooms. They look highly poisonous. Not the least because you cannot see a single insect crawling around or under any of them. Unusually, the ring itself is perfectly circular in shape. In its center, something silver glints, a stake pushed into the soft soil. Yeah, I'm not touching that. We know better now. Walk into the tomb. You stride towards the... You step into the fucking... Yeah, no. I wanted to avoid that, so let's go back and avoid it, because fuck that. Rewind. We go back to Oxel to Tamarin. We'll get the bracelet. We're going to Shinva's. Like, that's the specific thing I wanted to avoid. Let's jump. Yeah, I'm not touching that. I'm just gonna walk through it like a dipshit. That was my mistaken reading of the thing. You take a run up and jump clear over the circle of mushrooms, landing on the step of the mausoleum. The air inside is freezing. Dust coats the floor, urns line the walls, but there is no coffin. The floor space is empty, except in the far corner, where a narrow stone staircase leads down into darkness. Hey, let's head on downstairs. Unsure of what you might find below, you make your way towards the stairs. But you must have stepped on some kind of switch as behind you hear a noise, and turn to see the door is swinging shut. Let it close, we're not here to go back out. You stay back, not wanting to be crushed by the heavy stone door. It seals with a bang, and you are plunged into darkness filled with the sound of your own breathing. And one other noise, a distant rattle of chains. Oh, right, I don't have a light source. The echo of the slamming door circles the room. Things are moving across the flagstones. Do I have a light spell? Float in the air. I mean, I could. I don't know if it would help. Cause depression. We're in a tomb! I'm already depressed. Create light requires a sun jewel. Sense danger. I'm gonna guess that it's gonna say yes. Just, you know. Open locks and doors. We could get out. We don't have a sun jewel. And that seems like what we really need here. Protection from magic. Let's try this. You cast a spell, creating a veil of magical protection around yourself. The darkness is absolute. Anything could have your throat in this gloom. Feel for the stairs. You feel your way over to the stairs, moving carefully as not to hurl yourself down them by accident. Finally, your foot finds the top step. There could be anything below. A gaping pit, the jaws of a serpent, perhaps even another manticore. Yet you are never not at risk of being attacked by a manticore. Flash games taught me that. Let's go! Come on! You steel your courage and move down, further into the darkness. Menacing sounds echo up from the depths of the crypt. The clanking of chains, the moaning of wind. It is as though a tortured soul paces the flagstones of this place. Something reaches out and touches your neck with an ice-cold grip that tightens and tightens. You grapple for whatever is holding you, but either they're made of air or dance around you, escaping your arms. Either way, you cannot reach them. You begin to choke. Oh well. You try to whisper a final prayer to the whale, but the wraith only laughs as it chokes the last words from your throat. Just as you think you will never breathe again, a heavy blade is pushed into your heart, and you die from that instead. Okay, we died. It's clear that this is a useful progression point, but I'm not sure I can actually get anything out of it. I would need light, and I don't have light. So, let's go back to, Shinva's tomb. And we'll just leave. Nope. Actually, you can't get back out once you're inside. That's interesting. Let's go back to where we jumped over the ring. And just walk away. No. Back a little further, then. Alright, we're gonna need to, I'm gonna grab the bracelet, and then we're gonna check out the other tomb. There's one other tomb here, Freya's. It is a death wraith. Let's run. Just fucking leg it. Did I remember to give the dog a sandwich? It's okay, you can do that as Ford. Beside the gate is a disused well. Ignore it. We're being chased by a wraith. Let's get the fuck out. Death rave. You walk for half an hour through thick trees along a narrowing track until you reach a fork in the road. To its left, the track gets narrower still. To the right, a massive shadow looms, so large it seems as though a colossus had seated itself on the wall in thought. A chill wind blows through you as though ghosts walk this way. Check the compass. The imposing shape. Alright, what is this? The shadow to the right has a jagged silhouette. It is a ziggurat with perhaps 100 steps leading to its apex. Night is drawing in. You should get moving. Alright, let's head up the ziggurat. Ziggurat, yeah, I guess. You stand at the base of a towering ziggurat. I immediately said ziggurat again. I don't care. Built from carved stone blocks, each the size of a hay bale, the temple rises higher than the city wall, and is positioned to catch the first star of evening at its uppermost point, a moment which has just passed. Well, shit, I'm late. Look for an opening. You tilt your head back, looking for the opening, and finally make one out, a small black dot about a third of the way up. But even that is quite some climb. For the less devoted worshippers, a small gargoyle by the steps has an open mouth, ready to accept offerings. Hey, Bronx, how you doing? Climb up. You begin the climb, hauling yourself up the first step. Either the ziggurat was built for giants, or ascending is an act of devotion. The next few steps are equally exhausting. You have to throw your pack up first and follow. Hey, we were just reminded we have a levitation spell. Oh, or we could just get big. Let's get big. You cast the spell, swelling up to 3 times your size. You are now able to run up the stairs. But the scale quickly changes. It seems the builders of the pyramid created an optical illusion. The later steps are not as high as the lower ones. The change is so gradual you hardly notice as the spell fades. You reach a halfway point, almost as high as the city wall beyond, and pause to rest. You're halfway up. Friezes of gargoyles and polished metals ring the temple on this level. You continue the weary climb to the first level of the ziggurat. You climb for another 20 minutes up the steep stone steps until you are gasping and panting for breath once more. Finally, you reach the dark opening you saw from the base of the temple. The steps themselves continue up a little further still, to the very peak of the temple. The opening is guarded by rock-sculpted images of unimaginable creatures. Beyond, you see a long, dark hallway with something large and gleaming at the far end. Well, shit, let's head in. What could be worse than the death race? You step into the temple. The hollow space amplifies your footsteps, and they echo eerily for several moments. On the floor, in Glit in Ray, is written the name of the god who inhabits this space. It seems this is the ziggurat of Kurga the Gracious. Ooh, we gotta start with the left eye when we loot this place. You stride inside, filling the hallway with noise. Then suddenly the ground underfoot moves and you stumble backward. You have stepped on the body of an enormous serpent. Oh, I don't want to step on the serpent. I want to rewind a little bit. I don't want to step on the snake. That's mean. Wait and listen. You wait for a few heartbeats to see if you have disturbed anything. Nothing happens, then you catch the tail of a gigantic snake slithering across the floor and disappearing into a crack in one wall. From the markings along its back, it looks highly poisonous. Alright, head on in. You enter the temple, but the snake still manages to catch you by surprise. Alright, you know what? We're not fucking with the snake. Let's just keep climbing. You keep climbing before your legs seize up from the climb, all the way to the top of the ziggurat. Night has fallen. Stars spread across the sky in a peaceful repose that belies their true nature. Warring spirits, tussling for control of the world below. With your head tilted back, you can see more stars than you have ever seen in this city. Perhaps you are above the level of the lights and the smog and the dust, and perhaps more stars choose to cluster here, around this sacred site. If you were a true mage and not a mere sorcerer, who knows what spells one could weave at a spot like this? You lean back and look up, trying to recognize the stars from your studies. Can we cast, like, a super secret special spell? Tur... Tuck... Oh, we can try to devise a spell! Luck. You know what? Let's try it. Luck. You fashion the stars into alignment, and an enchantment is created. You feel a strange force entering your bones as though you are growing stiff, and you begin to shake. Something has happened to you. But what? What effect will it have, and how long will it last? You have found one of the secret spells of the Temple of Kurga. Okay! Look at the view. You look out across the city. In the far distance, you see torches in the woods near the north gate. Looking back, you see the lights of Kare coming on and the shouts of revelers, drunks, and nighttime thieves. The view is wondrous, but your journey beckons. You start the long climb back down the ziggurat once more. Now that we've cast luck, can we... No, it's probably not worth it. Let's just keep going. The climb back down is easier going. Halfway down, you pause to rest.
Ice is frozen water.
Can we rest here? Half an hour passes, nothing changes, except the sky grows colder and the wind picks up. You've seen enough. Alright. Here's where we're gonna rest. The mud underfoot is stamped with footprints, and in between them, the prints of many paws. Here is where we're gonna stop for the evening. Tomorrow, I gotta be honest, I still don't really know what I'm gonna do. I might end up playing one of the ease games. I have other thoughts. I have many other thoughts. The problem is, if I can wax philosophical for a moment, imagine a long hallway full of doors stretching out in front of you. And every door has one of the best times of your life behind it. But every time you go through one of those doors, one of the other doors locks forever. That's how I kind of feel about, like, the games that I'm streaming, in that there are so many choices and none of them are wrong. But I only have so much time to stream them all, you know? So, what I do, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna have to pick something. And I will. And I'll do that tomorrow. Whatever it may be. But until then, I should dedicate my life to ending the tyranny of time. That's true. I think somebody should kick the shit out of time. We need to beat up time. With sticks and possibly lasers and a chainsaw. Anyway, Theria appears to be playing Pokemon Emerald. Obviously, we're gonna raid Theria. I would never not say raid Theria. Have a word with Bahamut, the Keeper of Time. That is a powerful idea. I think Bahamut would, I think we'd get along well. You know what I'm saying? And if you do know what I'm saying, keep it to yourself. Enjoy the raid, everybody. Good night.
Stutter like